Sports fans,
Sports lovers.
welcome back to another episode of Global Sports from a Caribbean Perspective. As usual, I'm your host, Prime. I'm here with my boy,
Shaba.
and
Dubs.
we're here to bring you the best takes, the best leagues, the best players, the best sports, everything from a Caribbean perspective. We jumping right into it with this day in history. And, usually we bring you this day in sports history, but this is a significant day in history in general. Unfortunately, it's the day that we lost Martin Luther King Jr. And we gotta mention that on the podcast here today because we know that in terms of being a voice for the people, there's none better. I won't really get into too much of the history, but salute, MLK. A little coinky for you, Daphne.
A little coincidence. Today is the birthday of Alex Stewart, former England cricketer. He was born April 6, 1963. And this day is famous for a remarkable statistical coincidence. He scored exactly 8,463 runs in his test career. And this figure directly matches the date.
His date of 8-4-6.
So, yeah, little coincidence. And
a little coincidence.
big up Alex Stewart on the birthday.
All right, big up to Alex Stewart and RIP to MLK. Wasting no time at all, we're jumping right into the action from the first leg of the UEFA Champions League. We got some quarterfinals action, boy. Remember, at this stage of the competition, it's the best teams. At this stage in the competition, it is the best players. At this stage in the competition, it is the best games. And how could we not talk about it? We had some firecrackers. Yesterday, we had Real Madrid coming up against Bayern Munich, and we also had Sporting coming up against Arsenal. And those two games were played as we said the home games. So we're in Madrid and we were in Lisbon. And two very interesting games. I don't know which one we want to start. We want to start with the Arsenal game?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, might as well. Boy, for this season so far, especially in the Champions League, we've been saying that, Sporting isn't an easy place to go. And our favorites, Bodo, from the last round, had to find that out the hard way.
Mhm.
Going to Sporting and basically being put to the sword. I mean, 3 goals up, they would have thought that you could escape Lisbon, but we saw that wasn't an easy feat. They conceded 5. Not the same clinical nature from Sporting at home in this tie.
Yeah, we have set some context coming into the game. Arsenal, in their last 2 fixtures, went out of the 2 domestic cup competitions that they were, favorites in. Basically, they lost against Man
Quadruple.
City in the EFL Cup final, and then they lost against lower league Southampton
In the FA Cup.
in the FA Cup quarterfinal.
Quarterfinal.
So coming into this game, Arsenal would have been on a bad patch considering their form thus far this season. And the game showed much of the same. They weren't dominant at all. David Raya was forced into making a handful of superb saves, I have to say. Sporting even hit the crossbar once in the first half as well. So Sporting could have and probably should have taken a lead in this game. But credit to David Raya for his performance, and it won't be the last time we speak about a goalkeeping performance today.
Kai Havertz coming in clutch right at the end. I mean, Arsenal leaving it late there. Dappy, how critical is it to have, clutch players and a great goalkeeper, or at least a great goalkeeping performance, as Shaba said, to get you over the line in this stage of the competition?
Yeah,
1-0 not pretty, but they got the job done.
Yeah, it's an absolute must, and it works out superbly when it goes hand in hand when you get a clutch player and then the keeper makes saves to to keep a clean sheet and to ultimately win you the game. So yeah, it does go hand in hand, and these are the type of performances, regardless of how well they played or not. These are the type of performances that are not necessarily required, but they would look back on if they go on to lift the trophy and say, yeah, it was a tough game, but we came out with the victory. Going back to the Emirates without a goal or anything, and how they would have made it a bit more ticklish to them, as much as the 1 goal cushion isn't much of a cushion. I think they would still be happy with that result going on.
Yeah, man, I think they can take a lot of confidence going back to the Emirates from this. Obviously, the onus is on them to play the better football in the Emirates and to entertain their fans, of course. But you have to feel that with that, that spirit of being able to win it out in the end, that should get them through.
Yeah,
to the
I don't
semifinals.
feel like it's over at all. Because what Sporting showed me in the first leg there yesterday is that they have more than enough to trouble Arsenal. Arsenal have not looked like their solid self,
At the back, especially.
for the past few months. And I don't see why Sporting wouldn't give them trouble at the Emirates. Bayer Leverkusen gave them trouble at the Emirates. And this has now been 3 knockout games for Arsenal thus far where they haven't been impressive at all. I mean, it's probably aided and abetted by the fact that they finished first in the league phase, so they have probably faced weaker opponents
Opposition.
on paper, right? But
Deservedly so.
they haven't been impressive at all in the round of 16 two legs and this quarterfinal first leg. But I guess they take a lead and they move from there.
All right. We want to move on to the other game, flying over to Spain. It was at the Bernabeu. It was two giants of European competition, it has to be said. Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich. This is actually a pretty popular fixture in the Champions League. If you know, you know. You know ball knowledge. If you know, you know.
The most.
This is the most played fixture in the Champions League between two of the most winningest teams in the competition. This time around, Bayern Munich coming out with a rare win for them at the Bernabeu. I think this is the first time they've won there since what?
2012, when Ramos sent the ball to the moon.
Well, to be fair, they didn't actually win that game.
No, at the Bernabeu.
1-2 in regulation. The last time they actually won at the Bernabeu was
2002?
2002. They actually won at the Bernabeu in 90 minutes. It was like 2002.
Yeah. So for all them fixtures, y'all have been, taking care of Bayern Munich. Well, overall, but at home in particular. This was an interesting game, especially for all that it meant going into the game. Bayern winning out in the end, a goal in each half. Mbappe getting it done to a certain extent in the end. In terms of, when I say getting it done, I mean getting the ball over the line, because I mean, not for lack of trying between him and Vinicius in particular. Shaba, what was your take on the game on the balance of play?
A European classic, a classic European game. Like, this is something that any neutral fan would sit down and watch 10 times over. 20 shots by each team, 9 on target for Real, 8 on target for Bayern. This is the definition of a classical fixture. Not just in terms of the history, but what we saw yesterday during the 90 minutes of the game was something that you would like to watch again, and hopefully the Alliance Arena next Wednesday serves up a similar type of feast for us. Where to start? Bayern started like house on fire. They should have taken the lead through Upamecano, who had a gaping goal.
Easier to miss.
Scuffed his effort. Conrad Lima also had a chance early, also scuffed his effort, similar to the chance that Harry Kane took in the second half. So Bayern came out of the blocks roaring. Michael Olise was unplayable. Gave Alvaro Carreras horrors for the entire game, and it was I actually started to feel sorry for Carreras at some point, because he had no chance up against Michael Olise. This is why in the previous episodes I would have been focusing so much on the return of Forlan Mendy, because I know maybe he wouldn't have been able to clamp Olise completely.
But he would have fared a bit better.
He would have definitely fared much better against Olise in that fixture. But Olise is a great player, and maybe no left back could deal with him. Right? So credit to Bayern, they came out of the blocks flying. Pavlovic and Kimmich running the show. We could barely get a touch. Eventually, as the game started to evolve, we got ourselves into the game, and we saw Vini and Mbappe a few times on the transition, and we know that was always going to be our way forward in terms of hurting Bayern. And hurt them we did. But in goal, there was arguably the greatest goalkeeper of all time, in our way.
And not just the greatest goalkeeper of all time, the greatest goalkeeper of all time, playing like the best version of himself.
At the age of 40 years old, like Doppy mentioned, in 2012, Neuer denied Cristiano Ronaldo and Kaká in that penalty shootout, and here he is, 14 years later, still at the same stadium, denying Vinicius Junior and Mbappe. So the longevity of Manuel Neuer has to be credited here. He definitely kept his team in the game going into the second leg. However, Bayern were guilty of missing a lot of chances as well, especially when the game was broken in the second half. They had a lot of 3v2 type opportunities and just made the wrong pass.
Yeah, so, a couple misses from Gnabry.
Couple misses from Olise.
And
So, like I mentioned, 20 shots by each team, 9 on target for us and 8 on target for them. The game could have swung either way. It could have been 2-1 to us, it could have been 3-2 to them. I'm very grateful as a Madrid fan, based on the opening half hour from Bayern, that we're still in it, to be very honest, because they could have put us out of sight completely. So the fact that we're even here speaking at 2-1 going into the second leg is a credit to the fortitude and fight that we showed to get back into the game, because whole season we have been praising Bayern as this juggernaut and Madrid as this, flawed team.
Mhm.
It didn't look
That way.
that much of a difference between the two teams yesterday.
I want to ask you about the tactical battle. Like Shaba said, this was a European classic. You could tell, especially in the earlier exchanges, as Shaba said, Bayern came out the gates flying. With the return leg being at the Allianz, Madrid being the team that is down, would you see a reverse of that in the second leg where Madrid would be the away team, but just like Bayern did, you all would need to, presumably, come out in that same nature? How would that tactical battle play out based on what you saw happen in this game and what you see might happen in the next?
Yeah, to be very honest, we just have to be as clean. I have been saying this word for the last probably 2 ties. You got to be perfect. You have to be absolute perfect. For instance, Mbappe overlapped. Vinny had the ball. Vinny played a reverse pass. And Mbappe tried his best to keep this ball out of the reach of Neuer. He tried to bend it as far around Neuer so it
As
could
possible.
come back in. But as great as Neuer is, he didn't even have to make a save, really and truly, to put Mbappe off. The body was big enough, and Mbappe, knowing that, he was faced with such a task, had to take that road. But yeah, we have to be absolutely perfect, bro. I don't disagree with Shaba. Most of what he said was accurate. But you see the final moments of that game, bro. Bayern been playing with the food, the game could have easily been 4-4. Don't get me wrong, but that last, that we say 10 minutes of the game, we were completely outplayed. We were out of the game. Bayern were playing with the food. Bayern could have easily scored 2 or 3 goals in that final 10 minutes. That's how badly out of competing we look there in that final 10 minutes. Bayern played really well there, and I feel like our only real plan is to counter-attack.
Yep.
To be very, very fair. Bayern are relentless. They are fearless too, because they have no problem lining up man to man in the defensive phase. They have no problem putting one man each on every player on the field, so they could have some sort of cover fully. And then when there's a slip up, because I've seen when maybe Pavlovic didn't get onto a certain man, then Kimmich step up. So there is that. I know it's going to be a really good game, but I just feel like Bayern are just too good, and we will have to be. It's going to have to be one of those miraculous games to really just beat them and win without them having scoring. I don't feel we could score more than them, bro. I honestly don't feel we could score more than them. We look like little in that last 10 minutes. I sit on it, bro. I had no nails left. I ain't had no nails left. I sit on it biting my nails so they dead for their life, because Michael Oli is doing all kind. I see man doubling ball. Oli is stepping ball, walk down, bro. At one point in time, it just looked too easy. I mean, we can compete, but Bayern are relentless. They ain't letting up run on time, and we have to compete for 90 minutes. We have to be there with them for 90 minutes. It can't be a situation where we end up in the Alliance and we are a goal down already, bro. All in the movie, we really need to go there, take the game by the scruff of the neck, see how we could shell shot them early, and then take the game from there. It can't be a game where we're trying to go to with them at all.
Most definitely, and the fact that you mentioned, I think that Musiala came on, right, and his touch, it seemed sloppy. He shot twice, and they were very weak, right? That was another person who came on and wasted some opportunities for Bayern, right? I take all of your points, and it just goes back to what I was saying originally, like coming into the fixture, like Bayern were overwhelming favourites, and we just lost to Mallorca on the weekend, literally, right? There's no way that we should be in with a chance going into the second leg based on how Bayern played, based on our form coming into the game. But here we are still, it's 2-1, and we've seen crazier things. This won't be the biggest shock in football history if Madrid go to the Allianz and win. This would not be the biggest shock in football history because just the threat, though the 10 and the 7 have for us, despite them not being clinical as they should for their salaries and their standing in world football, the fact that we even have this chance having this conversation that we just done by 1 goal, if we score the first goal next week, who is under the more pressure? Is Bayern going to have to come out now and leaving more space for we for counter? So it's very interesting to see how it's going to unfold. I'm just glad that we're in with a shot.
Definitely in with a chance. The other two fixtures played today. I'm gonna be very honest with y'all.
Let's start with the PSG.
Right, because there's only one fixture that I was really watching in the first half at least. I watched the second half of the PSG game. Yeah, man, I had to watch the second half of the PSG game. I wasn't going to watch the second half of that other game that was played. But we'll get there. PSG versus Liverpool at the Parc des Princes. Listen, defending champions going up against a team from the Premier League that I think, because they're still in the competition, are getting better shots than they should be based on the season they've been having, realistically speaking. And I think this is the full stop.
I made a point.
I think this is the full stop. I think this is where the buck stops for Arne Slot and this Liverpool run. And I think that the team, players, even some of the fans, kind of know that. You know, facing the European champions when you're not honestly having your best season, it's always going to be difficult. But they get away, boy. it could have been so much worse than 2-0.
I made a point coming into the game and we were previewing the Real Madrid Bayern Munich game that Dappy keeps harping on the fact that he thinks Bayern is the best team in Europe. And while that's obvious that he has a case for that, I kept harping on the fact that this version of PSG, this spring, April, May version of PSG is the best team in Europe. And the way they swatted Liverpool aside like a fly. Liverpool had 0 XG. Like 0.0 XG. They did not lay a glove on Safanov in goal for PSG. They created nothing and they were not a threat whatsoever. The fact that the score is 2-0 right now for PSG flatters Liverpool 2-0 in. Right? Due and Kvaratskhelia, they're gonna do their thing in every game. Due scored a great goal. Kvaratskhelia also scored a great goal. Right, and PSG are gonna strut their stuff. Hakimi and
They had so many misses, man.
Vitinha with over 100 and something passes again, running the show. Like, I don't see this big flaw for PSG that they're gonna be so easily beatable. So even though the winner from Real Madrid and Bayern would fancy their chances, maybe getting to the final, I think that PSG would be a big roadblock for either of those teams who advance.
Not be any chance of Anfield magic, or we are definitely looking at Madrid or Bayern versus PSG.
Corner taken quickly.
Or maybe PSG should have scored 3. Dembele. Maybe Dembele. Let me cook right now. Maybe Dembele shouldn't have missed his chance. If he been party chance, I would have been 3-0 and maybe Liverpool would have a chance.
I mean,
we know he loves to give Liverpool chances.
I mean, the last 2-0 and it's football, and we've seen it before, but with the performance, especially in the first leg, that they didn't give any fight. They really don't inspire me to say anything in their favor, really and truly, to be very honest. But they can't be that poor again. They can't be that poor again. I'm pretty sure they would like to give their fans at Anfield something to shout for, something, at least to go home with. But yeah, I think now after seeing the force like PSG might be a bit too much for them, and
I think PSG scores force at Anfield and
tie over.
Yeah. I could see a situation like that happening.
This is the third time this season that Liverpool have lost 3 games in a row in all competitions, and they've never done that since 1953.
Yeah, this is the first time them lose 19 games in a season as well.
It's not great history.
Salah, no minutes.
It's not great
whatsoever.
history for
So I don't see where any inspiration. I mean, Isak was on the bench. Maybe he could lend a spark, but I don't see any comeback attack for Liverpool here. And I don't see any future here for Slat either next season.
Well, I hear that talking about Alonso and all kind of such, man. So we'll see how it go.
Let's see.
Take it easy, my boy. the annual
Hello,
humiliation.
darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's time for as my friend Shaba is saying, the annual humiliation ritual. It's that time of year. It's April, May. It's time for Barcelona to show their asses in Europe and be the laughing stock of world football and jeopardize all of the hard work that we've been putting in for this whole season, mess up the entire narrative of what your season is like and what the whole atmosphere is just one big load of tutu over the whole season. Just a big load of mess. This is a Caribbean perspective. If you know what tutu be, ask somebody. You understand? It's just one big load just right in front of you. Because, all right, let me get the Rafinha cope out the way, right? No Rafa, obviously this is gonna be a problem. This is our best player, not for the goals and the assists, but for the press. Dappy, the press. On the press. I know you know about being on the press. You understand me? So you take that out of the team and the system suffers because it's a system that depends on goals, not defense. But those goals can only really and truly cushion the team so much as the press shields off the conceding thing. The press isn't really about being a great defender,
No.
or making any crazy intervention. The press is about pressure. It's about keeping the ball up the field. It's about keeping your opponent guessing, increasing the likelihood.
Sometimes.
Exactly, increasing the likelihood of mistakes, misplaced passes, increasing the likelihood of turnovers, especially turnovers high up the field where you have fast-paced attackers and creative players who could pick a
Finish.
pass, running behind,
And
and most
finish.
importantly, finish. Rafinha does give it all of that. The other attackers that we have fall short in one out of those areas. Lamine he would press decently. We know his strength is in dribbling and so forth. He is not the most clinical in all situations. Lewandowski,
That's for the shit.
right?
That's for the
And
shit.
share service.
It's no love lost, bro. It's no love lost.
That's for the shit.
You are almost 40. I know hit a milestone there. So I understand.
You know what it is.
I know how it be when the age start catching up with your little back pain, a little knee pain, a little joint pain. You have to sap your foot when you're done sweat and them things. So I could only imagine what it is for elite level athlete. Marcus,
It's shit. That's for the shit.
I ain't gonna go that far because I actually thought he had a decent performance. If one of those things goes in, I mean, I can't say that. He took a free kick from damn near the same position.
He
that
been going hit
Alvarez
the
did.
crossbar, bro. It ain't been on target.
Oh,
The keeper
alright,
touch it,
but-
but it been going hit the cross.
I understand.
Yeah,
Out of
understand.
the attackers that
Out of the attackers,
he wasn't bad.
I rather after he the option is Ferran Torres.
And Rooney. And poor Rooney.
So based on the balance of play, right? I am all of this preamble just to say, man, Barcelona fans, let me have an honest conversation. We know the strengths of the team, we know the weaknesses of the team. Let me don't go down that kind of road. My problem is why I say hello, darkness, my old friend, is I don't understand. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and 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 over again and expecting a different result. If this system that your coach has decided to play, that all of you have bought into, board, players, everybody, y'all have decided,
Fans.
we celebrate Hansi Flick as fans. We just flick in. We ain't depend no flick out thing. We could never be for what he did in that 4th season. I don't know if it's the 2nd season. Jitters are with people that say Hansi Flick, however. We don't make with peace with it. I need my defenders to have a brain. I'm sorry, Paul Kabasi, I'm not gonna come down on you. I came down on the likes of Ronald Araujo because I genuinely don't think he could have avoided contact with. He was sticking his foot out, not in control of the ball, and you are on a collision course with him. Unless you didn't chase him down, you cannot stop that contact. I do not think it's the same as wildly clattering into a player, swinging at their feet, trying to weed whacker their legs out of the box.
The referee seemed to think so too because he did give a yellow card
in the moment.
What the lad
And what I always say with VAR, everything slow, any contact slowed down and repeated over time is going to look worse than in real time.
Just on that, I don't think the contact is the problem. I think probably in real time he thought Kunde
would have reached. And when you watch over his Kunde far.
Okay.
The problem is
I surprised he gave my yellow card because to me Kubas.
Because I when I saw it first, I was
I don't ball. I don't say I don't my hand on the palm of my head.
the problem is not the referee need that Kubasi is the starting point at which Kubasi was defending.
Right. And this is what I'm saying about this high line. You have to understand your system. You have to understand your system. This is the system you are playing in. You can't tell me you're getting caught by the man they make that same run there in the La Liga fixture and score. It ain't a crafty run. He ain't curving or nothing. He is running straight down the middle of the 2 centre backs.
The thing is, what Atletico was doing wasn't anything groundbreaking. It just a few passes.
It's the 43rd minute and a loose ball get up the field. My brother in Christ, it's the first leg of a 2-leg. I feel like I said this exact sentence about Araujo last season.
Yeah, let him score.
It is the first half of a 2-legged tie, and your system depends on you scoring goals. What is the problem in conceding? We have been conceding all season.
Newcastle.
We've been the same team score 4 against me in the first half, and you don't want him and score 1. At the highest level, when the stakes is the highest, this team is that's my qualm. That's my qualm. It don't happen. So I ain't never have to list them out anymore because we know it fresh and remember it's so fresh. Oh God, just learn something. Just learn something. Just learn something. That being said, credit to my team for the second half. Credit to Lamine Yamal for the second half because I watch my team still take up the onus of the game because we're the home team, still try to entertain the fans, still go all out, trying to get something. And another criticism that is probably a bit more of the naivety in Barcelona showing up because you're chasing it, especially coming. The first bit of the second half was okay. You could tell that we want to make something happen, but we ain't train all guns to it. From like 75th minute go down, all fall down. Everything fall down. And Salah come on. And again, the naivety. Salah who done scope on you in so many fixtures coming on as a substitute. He come on, nobody ain't taking the onus for just mark out this man. Let we drop, let we watch the ball coming in from the flank because there's a big target man in there. Man, come on, man. Them is the problems, them is the thing and them I have a problem with. That is what I take an issue with. Learn something because I can't be here as somebody who aspiring to be a pundit who just love the game. And I could see them problem there. It's a man making real G's for identify them problem here. Oga. Just learn something so that when you're in the UCL, this stage, let be pan merit. Let Atletico, let Alvarez bend up Joan Garcia because it's just a free kick and you and that's the next thing. You take the red card for stop the goal. Man, you have to kick. Score.
Boy, bro.
That was double whammy.
I see the
Double whammy.
I see the I come on my seat and I'm talking about it.
But anyhow, all that ranting aside, Nobody afraid Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone. And I real Ben because them man knock you out the Champions League the last time. Again, with the fire in this team here,
Twice.
this team here knock you out twice in this competition here before. You have the man here, you know the man here. Yes, they have the ability to score against you. They have the ability to knock you out of a competition, but we could beat Atletico.
I guess that.
And what? Again, what? Insanity, we see. We beating them next week. We beating them.
I am bored with it.
We beating them next week and we knocking them out too and we getting semi-finals.
I am bored with it. Unless we see something different from how it, because bro, for a big manager,
Them they have
Mr. real inconsistent with how he do.
frightened. Then they play the whole second half. They frightened.
Yes.
Frightened.
That's why I
Second
do
half,
rate
they
with him.
frightened.
That's why I do rate with him.
And them man up.
He go have the advantage and still play defensive football. I hate
Pray.
that about him. And then he kind of
Pray.
get punished. And I feel like
And our football.
unless that man get all the goal and Barca start to play Barca football, tails going to go between the legs again, bro. And I feel like they're going to fall under pressure and Barca going to come out of the tail victorious.
Bro, I can't believe we nearly overturned that 4-goal down in the Copa del Rey. We nearly forced the extra time, Mary.
Coming into this game, right? Hate to be the bearer of bad news or that I told you so. But when we spoke about the second leg against Newcastle, and I mentioned that after 3 halves, first leg in Newcastle and the first half versus Newcastle was very much end-to-end, a basketball style game. And Barca gets to the later stages against better opposition, it's going to come back, bite them. Because not every opposition like Newcastle is naive enough to keep going toe-to-toe with the best attacking team in the world for 90 minutes. Teams like Atletico Madrid, coached by Diego Simeone, despite being a man up, are going to sit back in a low block, defend, and take a 2-0 lead to his home stadium. Stadium where they have not lost a UCL knockout tie since 1997. So if Barca do achieve that, it will be history. And I'm not saying it is something out.
We beat them.
Just like I mentioned with
We
going
beat
to the
them.
Alliance, who would be surprised? Not me. I would not be surprised to see Barca go to the Wanda and come out with a 3+ margin win. But based on what we've said about Hansi Flick and everything you've just mentioned, bro, they're gonna go out there and set up with that same suicidal highline, leaving chances for the likes of Lookman, Griezmann, Alvarez to capitalize on. Who's more clinical is gonna be the one to advance. So I know Barca aren't going to change. Atletico are going to sit in their block, and Barca are gonna come up high at the halfway line. All it takes is 2 passes to get in behind a run from Giuliano or a run from Llorente. They're in. So, as you mentioned, Hansi Flick has to at least, come up with something different, bro. The insanity thing, don't just do the same thing over and over and then expect that you're going to outscore every single opponent. It's not going to work. We saw that against Inter last year. And we're seeing it here again. But it's only the first leg.
The Pedri sub halftime call by understand coach. He been on a yellow card. I met my peace with it, but
Something similar with Poké too.
Without Pedri and Rafinha. Lamine, you try here.
Yeah, because I've been looking, because as I say, I started watching the Barca game from the second half, and I looking and feeling, Pedri, what's going on?
No, he was.
Like, it didn't make sense to me then, but now you made it clear to me that yellow.
It's a yellow card late in the first half. By that time in the game was devolving, so a lot of cards were flying around, which is why.
Okay, had to get hard off.
He should have been off, but whatever. It's whatever. We'll be beating them next week. Anyhow, that has been our recap of the UCL quarterfinals. First legs where we had Bayern Munich up against Real Madrid. We had Arsenal up against Sporting. We had Atletico up against Barcelona. And we had
PSG versus Liverpool.
That's right. And next week, don't have to wait too long. That is the beauty about this part. Quick competition. Quick turnover. Quick chance to revenge or more pain. We'll see what it will be. Anyhow, before we sign out, any mentions or any man in the match performances over that them two games?
Tom Bischoff.
I'm Bischoff.
A brace on the weekend. I think Freiburg been up.
2-0.
And yeah, out of nowhere.
First 2 Bayern goals.
First 2. Outside of the box as well. Left foot and right foot.
Real best.
3-2
Same goal.
3-2
3-2 victory for Bayern Munich. Big up Tom Bishop.
Keeping the Bayern team, Manuel Neuer, 9 saves. 9 saves at the age of 40 years old. Also, like the miss from Vinicius, it wasn't a save, but that was definitely Manuel Neuer influenced. So he was a colossus. Michael Olise was the best outfield player, but Manuel Neuer was the best player on the pitch. And the fact that Bayern dominated and are this juggernaut, and Manuel Neuer is the man of the match, says a lot. See you in Munich.
Big up yourself, Julian Alvarez. That is a free kick and a half, my brother. Come to Barcelona. You hear? We had the money for pay, but come to Barcelona.
A different color.
Shot go fit you.
A different color shot.
Shot go fit you. I like the red.
A different.
I don't like the white.
A different.
I like the red. I don't like the white.
A different,
So don't go. I like the red.
a different color shot.
I like the red. I
And
don't
we
like the
be
white.
having a different conversation about Michael Olise. A different color shot in a different league. And it's a different conversation we will be having about Michael Olise, honestly speaking. Because he did Bayern Munich and it's a Bush League and the, Farmers League and they're always going to be dominant. I don't feel he get any flowers.
Don't worry.
For coming the born a bit, yo.
Worry, no, it's a World Cup.
And her,
It's
Alvaro
awesome.
Carreras. Her man balling for fall and Mendy. It says a lot, bro. And the thing with the man is Messi vibes. And I ain't talking about Messi vibes in terms of the way he play, but the behaviors, nonchalant and unassuming, and like this guy can't kill a fly, but you put him on the field and it's trouble. You get me? So yeah, boy, is really something to watch, and I go really can't wait for the World Cup.
We are enjoying the UCL as usual. We hope you are too. As usual, stay locked in, stay clocked in with GSCP because we're here to bring you the best teams, the best games, the best players, and the best takes on all things sports from a Caribbean perspective. As usual, we're signing out here at GSCP. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, and join our community on GSCP.
One, go about.
Global.